Most popular girl in your high school? Where's she now? Story 1. She was the hot girl back then, sure, but more importantly, she was genuinely kind. Not stuck up, not one of those people who treated popularity like a license to be awful. She talked to everybody, didn't act like she was above anyone, real down-to-earth energy, the kind of person you'd expect to land on her feet no matter what life threw at her. Then somewhere along the line, heroin showed up and basically hijacked the whole story. Now she's always on Facebook, posting these desperate requests for money, rent, car repairs, medical bills, gas to get to a new job, whatever the crisis of the week is. And you can feel the shift. At first, people help. Old classmates send $20, $50, trying to be decent humans. Then the stories stop adding up. Same emergencies, different details. People start whispering about scams. You see the comments get shorter, the sympathy dries up. That slow social fade out is brutal to watch. And physically, yeah, addiction is ruthless. It doesn't care how pretty you were, how popular, how nice. It just takes and takes until the person you remember barely shows through anymore. That's the real gut punch. Not judgment, just sadness. Because you know who she used to be. It really is a damn shame. Story 2. The prettiest girl in our school died in a car accident senior year. Just like that. One random day, normal morning, people complaining about homework and prom plans, and then the news hits and the whole building goes dead quiet. You could literally feel the air change. Even the teachers didn't know what to say. It was one of those moments where you realize life does not care about timing, potential, or how good someone is. And the thing is, she wasn't just pretty. We had plenty of pretty people. She was different. She was kind in a way that felt intentional, like she actually paid attention to people who were invisible to everyone else. There was this one kid, rough situation at home, poor hygiene, always sitting alone, the kind of kid high school chews up and spits out. She would sit with him at lunch on purpose, not once for show, not as a charity stunt, regularly. Talk to him like he mattered, because to her, he did. Her friends would tease her sometimes, give her crap about it, the usual high school nonsense. She never backed down, just shrugged it off like, yeah, okay, whatever. She had this quiet confidence about doing the right thing, even when it wasn't cool. Her faith was a huge part of who she was. Not the loud, preachy kind, more like the lived-it-every-day kind. The kind where kindness wasn't a slogan, it was just how she moved through the world. Honestly, if more people practiced their beliefs the way she did, consistent, humble, actually caring, things would probably be a lot less cynical out here. Even years later, people still bring her up. Not in that dramatic, tragic way, but in small conversations. Like, remember how she used to check on everyone? Or, she was the real deal. That kind of memory sticks. Some people leave a mark that doesn't fade. R.I.P. Kendra. Story 3. She was already famous locally before we even hit high school. Swimsuit model in middle school, which, looking back as an adult, feels kind of weird and uncomfortable. But at the time, everyone just treated it like she was destined for celebrity status. By high school, she was a full-on Playboy bunny, showing up in magazines, going to parties most of us couldn't even pronounce. Meanwhile, the rest of us were trying to figure out locker combinations and whether Hot Pockets counted as dinner. Then, right after graduation, boom, she marries this doctor who's literally twice her age. Met him at one of those Playboy parties, which already sounds like the opening scene of a cautionary tale. Everybody whispered about it, but also shrugged like, well, guess she secured the bag. Big house, fancy cars, the whole glossy Instagram before Instagram lifestyle. From the outside, it looked like she skipped straight to the final boss level of adulthood. Couple years later, plot twist hits like a brick through a window. Dude gets arrested, not for something minor either. Selling prescription meds, trafficking cocaine, the full federal nightmare package. Suddenly the mansion isn't a fairy tale castle anymore, it's evidence storage with marble countertops. News spreads through town at light speed because small town gossip travels faster than Wi-Fi. And here's the wild part. She walks away from the whole disaster with the house, a pile of money, and a brand new persona. Reinvents herself as this ultra-religious influencer type online. Bible quotes, inspirational captions, soft lighting, the whole redemption aesthetic. You scroll past her posts, and it's all blessed, grateful. God has a plan. Like the previous chapter got quietly deleted from the timeline. Life really said rebrand and keep it moving. Story 4. She was pretty back then, sure, but not crowned queen of the hallway or anything. Honestly, she caught more crap than compliments. Some girls physically bullied her. And I'm not talking mean tweets, I mean actual fists. I was at the bus stop the day it happened, just standing there half awake, backpack digging into my spine, and out of nowhere, she gets punched square in the face. No warning, no drama buildup. Whole crowd went dead silent like someone hit pause on reality. Then she left school. Poof, gone. Everyone assumed that was the end of her story. Couple years later, those same bullies are passing around magazines like, OMG, look who this is. Next thing you know, boom. Global supermodel, billboards, runway shows. The whole world clapping while the rest of us are still arguing with our car insurance. Story 5. So the absolute hottest girl at my school, like universally agreed upon, bipartisan support, zero debate. She went off to college and dove headfirst into the rave scene. Glow sticks, EDM festivals, probably survived on Red Bull and vibes for 4 straight years. Which, honestly, whatever, half the people we knew experimented a little. You expect them to grow out of it, get a job, start complaining about taxes like the rest of civilization. And funny enough, years later she actually started giving me the time of day. We'd hang out, grab coffee, go on hikes. I'm thinking, wow, character development. Look at me making friends with the former untouchable popular girl. Felt like I unlocked a bonus level in adulthood. Then the conversations started getting spicy. We'd be walking through the woods, birds chirping, nice peaceful day, and she'd suddenly point up at the sky like she just cracked the Da Vinci Code. See those lines? Chemtrails. And I'm like, okay, cool, maybe she's joking. People joke about weird stuff all the time. Nope, not joking. Next hike, she's whispering about fake birds watching us. Government drones. I'm standing there holding a granola bar, wondering how the hell we got from casual small talk to national treasure backyard edition. Then she starts explaining that she's basically a divine being sent here to awaken humanity and open everyone's third eye. Full cosmic main character arc. Also, and this part hit me the hardest for some reason, she stopped wearing deodorant. No makeup, hair just doing whatever gravity and chaos decided that day. Still objectively hot, which is honestly unfair, but now wrapped in this cloud of patchouli and conspiracy energy. Last I heard, she's selling structured water, or some miracle hydration nonsense, through an MLM. Of course it's an MLM. That's like the final evolution stage. Pokemon rules. Raver to enlightened being to pyramid scheme distributor. She randomly deleted me off everything one day. No explanation, no drama, just gone. And I never bothered asking why, because deep down, I knew the answer probably involved vibrations, frequencies, or the birds filing a report on me. Honestly, I wish her well, but if a pigeon starts making direct eye contact with me for too long, I'm leaving the area immediately. Story 6. So this was back around 2004. She was the hot girl in our college cohort. Pretty, social, totally normal on the surface. We had a few classes together, nothing dramatic, just the usual college acquaintance vibe. One day after class, she asked if I could give her a ride home. No big deal. I said sure. We chatted about homework, weekend plans, the most boring, everyday stuff imaginable. I dropped her off at her house, waved goodbye, and went on with my life. Next day, she's not in class. I try calling, no answer. Thought maybe she was sick or skipped, whatever. Then later, I'm watching the news, half paying attention, and they're talking about a local teenage girl found dismembered in an alley trash can. Horrifying story, but at first it just felt like distant, awful news. The reporter is standing outside a house, camera pointed at the front yard, and something in my brain just clicks. That house looked familiar, way too familiar. And then it hit me like a truck. That was the exact place I had dropped her off the day before. Same driveway, same porch. Same everything. I remember just sitting there, frozen, heart pounding, thinking, no, there's no way. But when the names finally got released, there it was, her name, along with a few others. They were the killers. I was shaken for a long time after that. Not because I thought I was in danger, more because it shattered that basic assumption we all carry. That you can tell who people are just by being around them. She had been sitting in my passenger seat, laughing, talking about normal life, and meanwhile, something unimaginably violent had already happened or was about to happen. That disconnect is terrifying. So many lives destroyed in one moment. The victim, the families, even the people on the edges who had to process it afterward. It's one of those memories that stays buried for years, then resurfaces out of nowhere and leaves you staring into space again, still asking the same question. How could this have happened? Story 7. I married her, the hot girl, The one everybody noticed in high school while I was just trying not to trip over my own feet in the hallway. Somehow she picked me, and we built a whole life together out of ordinary days. 40 years almost. 39 to be exact. That's a lot of breakfasts, a lot of arguments about nothing, a lot of shared looks across crowded rooms like, yeah, we survived another one. You don't realize how much space one person fills until they're gone. She knew where everything was, remembered birthdays, kept the rhythm of the house going. I used to joke that she was the CEO of our life, and I was middle management at best. Turns out that wasn't a joke. She died, and the silence afterward was loud, like someone unplugged the world. It's been 10 years now, and I still catch myself turning to tell her something. A dumb story, a piece of news, the price of groceries, and then I remember, and man, that realization still hits like a dropped brick. People say time heals. I don't know about that. Time teaches you how to carry the weight, maybe. But being lost after loving someone for nearly 4 decades, that's just the receipt for a life well lived together. Story 8. So she was the hot girl, the one everybody watched from a distance, and then boom, pregnant at 18 by a guy twice her age. Whole town immediately wrote the script for her future. You know how it goes. People shaking their heads, whispering in grocery store aisles, acting like they just predicted the weather. 3 kids followed, and then the drugs showed up, and suddenly things got real scary, real fast. The kind of chaos where social services start circling and everyone's bracing for the worst. I remember thinking, yeah, this isn't going to end well. Not in a cruel way, just in that tired, realistic way you get after seeing enough train wrecks. You assume the pattern will keep repeating. That once life slides off the rails, it stays there. But somehow, and this is the part that messes with your expectations, they pulled it together, got clean, stayed together, kept their kids. No dramatic social media speeches, no inspirational TED Talk, just the slow, grinding work of fixing your own mess day by day. Doctor visits, meetings, relapses maybe, second chances, boring, responsible decisions. The unglamorous stuff nobody applauds because it's not exciting, it's just necessary. And now, a decade plus later, they're still standing. Family intact, kids growing up, stability where chaos used to live. Honestly, respect, because surviving the storm is one thing. Staying steady after it passes, that's the hard part. All right, y'all, that's today's wild ride down memory lane. Life really be throwing plot twists like it's bored. If this story hit you in the feels or made you go, damn, drop a like, share your own story in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real ones.